Welcome to I Write Out Loud. I don't know about you all, but I need to do like maybe a few rounds of those. Thank you for the for the hearts. I don't know if that was for my deep breath in. This has been a whirlwind of a slightly over 24-hour cycle. And is it okay if I just admit like I am tired? I think it's okay to just say that, right? We're among friends here. Are other people feeling that this week as well? Or is it just me and my crazy schedule of writing slash podcasting slash corporate life slash parenting and all of the things? My younger daughter had her first ever AP test today. And then she found a theater group she wants to try out for, and the video audition was due today. So she found out, I don't know, 2 days ago. So she's been here this afternoon commandeering both phones, one to record with and one to look at her script. But I'm super proud of her. I hope she gets it. But even if she doesn't, it was her first time ever recording an audition. There's just a lot going on. I'm sorry you're sick, Stuart. I hope you feel better really soon. Oh, hi, Dr. Hall. Hi, Bart. Hi, Courtney. And Courtney, your son has his first AP test next week. It's a lot. I don't know how old your son is. My daughter is a sophomore. So it's a crazy thing. We're here today to talk about my essay about children in college. And I've realized that next year the cycle starts again. Oh my God. And you know what? My brain just made a little connection. Oh my gosh, AP Music Theory. How cool. As a freshman too. Wow. Um, I just had this funny little brain connection happen, which was with my older daughter. She was really good at nursing, and like she was a champ from the minute she popped out of the womb. She could latch, and she refused the bottle, which was kind of tricky, but she loved it. And she was still nursing when I got pregnant the second time. In fact, she was the first indication that I was pregnant. I think I was just a few days pregnant, like brand new. I didn't know it yet. And she was nursing and she got really mad. She started like kicking her legs. Oh, sorry, just kicking her legs and balling her fists and like, punching my boob because she was mad about something and I didn't know what. And looking back, I'm like, oh, I bet my milk changed immediately from the hormones of being pregnant. And she knew it before anyone. But the point I'm coming around to was it was very hard to wean her. I eventually did because it was so exhausting being pregnant and also nursing a baby. And she was, I don't know, 18, 19 months old. It was okay to wean her. But I loved nursing the first time around. I really did. And I was, very excited to be having a second baby. But I just remember feeling like I want to be excited to do these stages again and to nurse her. But by the time when she was born, I was like, I don't feel ready to do this again because I feel like I just stopped. I finally got used to it stopping. And oh my God, it's going to be the same thing with going through this for college. It's a parallel because my kids are 2.25 years apart. So the college process round trip, it was a solid 18 months or more of thinking about it. So I'm like, it'll start junior year, which is next year. And I'm like, oh, I need to put this down for a little while. So funny that I won't really have time to because of the ages of my kids. Anyone in the chat? I should just ask this in the chat in general to help guide this conversation. How many people in the chat have either kids who are coming up on college age, you have gone through the college process, or and they're in college, or they're graduated, but like you are, it's not that far in your rear view mirror. I would love to hear from all of you kind of where you are, because this essay isn't like a how to get your kid into college. It's a lot more about disenchantment or outright trepidation around what's happening in the US and about trying to launch children into the world where there's so much fear. I think it's always really scary for every parent to launch their baby into the world, but to try to do it now, it just feels extra fraught. Let's see here. Shayla said one started college and decided it wasn't for her, and the other one is a college graduate. Okay. Whoops. And I see a comment here. Stuart says my son is a freshman. Okay. And then Courtney has a freshman in high school. So that's your future. Oh my God, Dr. Hull, I help girls get IUDs before they head off for uni. I like that you're already saying uni because you're Canadian now. Mine is freshman, but already planning. I was plagued by student debt for decades and determined not to let that happen. Oh, there's Linnea. Hi, Linnea. Oh my God, Kira's already back for treat number 2. We haven't even gotten to the essay yet, and she already wants treat number 2. I'm going to make her wait a minute. Let me navigate over here and grab the essay. Coming over here. Okay. And and I suppose let me join the chat, right? So that I'm not looking at all of these on phone. Mine's a year 1 student for uni this year. Fantastic. It sounds like that's not in the US because we don't say uni here, although I do love it. Oh my gosh, you don't have to apologize for being late, Linnea. You are right on time, and I'm thrilled you're here. My daughter is in her second year at SBCC and is moving back home in June. She has anorexia and it's hindered her experience. I'm so sorry. That is really tough. Hang on, I'm navigating over here. Let me make sure that one is muted. Hello, Ms. Hughes. I see you here. I'll say hello in the chat. And I'm going to put a link to this week's essay. And I'm going to call it up here on the screen and close these windows. As I said, this week has just been wild. And Kira, I hear you, and I'm just saying no. I have so many tabs open here. I'm just laughing. This is like the whole week flashing back at me. For context, if I feel like I may be a little scattershot today. We did an extra live last night on the Daily Whatever show with Jane Pratt from Jane Magazine and Sassy Magazine. It was amazing. It was a total wish fulfillment thing for me. I have been a fan for my whole adult life, and since I saw her on Substack many months ago, have been trying to make this happen. And it was an immense thrill, but it was also 3 lives in 24 hours, plus a full work day in the middle and a date last night. So it is all and a daughter auditioning for a play and taking an AP world exam. And the usual just life stuff. So it's a lot. Okay, Karen, I'm just going to indulge her because that sound is like nails on a chalkboard. I can't. So we're just going to keep spoiling the dog. Here you go, spoiled dog. I write out loud, sponsored by Nature Dogs. So forgive me if my brain is a bit all over the place. I'm so happy, but I'm also just so a little inundated right now. And maybe that's the right frame of mind to be in when having this conversation. So I think, actually, let me start off by saying welcome to I Write Out Loud. I haven't done my little speech where I say, I Write Out Loud is my corner of Substack that is dedicated to creative nonfiction and memoir writing. My flavor of memoir writing and storytelling is never just the personal. It's taking the personal and connecting the dots to broader cultural and sometimes political conversations. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Perhaps every now and then I will write an essay that is just, here's a time I had dinner with my grandparents, and that's it. It doesn't go anywhere else, but probably not. I am a dot connector, and I am a people connector. I love creating community, and so I love that you all are coming in, joining these lives after I post the essays so that we can talk about them and build community around them. The essays, it is called I Write Out Loud in part because I read all my essays out loud. If you go to the page, you always have the option of listening to the auto-generated AI essays. I love that Substack does that. It's great for accessibility. Some people either are not able to read visually or they just prefer to listen because they're auditory learners. I love that they have it, but I want my essays read in my voice as the way I want them to sound and with the occasional pet sound in the background. That's how you know it's it's authentic and it's me reading it. So both those written essays and the audio recordings and these weekly lives are all ahead of the paywall. It very much works on an NPR model where the paid subscribers help the free subscribers access the content because times are tough right now. And then I do also offer a thank you level for my paid subscribers, which is the Sunday Salon. And there we dive a level deeper into the stories and the backstories behind them. Sometimes I spill a bit of tea that I'm not comfortable sharing for the internet at large, but that in a small group setting, I'm happy to talk about. And we also just share our own personal lived experiences. And it's really become this lovely, supportive community that meets every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific time. If you have been considering supporting my work at a deeper level, I would love to have you on board as a paid subscriber. I would love to have you join the Sunday Salons. The fact that you are here as a free subscriber and someone who reads or listens to my work also just fills my bucket. And I'm so thankful that you're here. Seriously, thank you. Thank you. For joining. I especially appreciate those of you who read and comment on my work. It means the world to me. And if you restack it, that it so helps a new writer like me on Substack get the word out. So if this essay moved you in any way, I would love if you would share it by restacking it. And same goes with the live after I post the recap. I think that's my whole I write out loud spiel. Let's dive in to the essay. Actually, right before I dive into the essay, I will post the link once again, and I'm just going to see if there were any comments. Those of you who've been here before know that I spend a lot of time going back and forth between the comments and up-leveling them so we can all have a conversation here on the live, since Substack does not share the chat when I post the recap, only the live gets captured for posterity, which if anyone from Substack is listening, please capture the chats. They don't listen to me, but I'll still keep putting it out there. Oh, one last thing. If you all wouldn't mind smashing that little heart button, because when you put the hearts in there, it signals to Substack that people are enjoying this chat and it helps more people discover it. So if we could get a few hearts going, that would make me very happy. Okay, I'm going to read some comments here. Courtney says, my mom had anorexia. Best wishes to your daughter. Yes, we all echo that sentiment. Best wishes to your daughter. I hope she's able to get the support she needs and to continue her education. And all the love for you as your family's going through this. That's so hard. Linnea says it was a fun live last night. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. Jane Pratt was a delight. Liz and Stephanie, our friends we invited on who were hardcore Sassy and Jane super fans whose lives were really impacted. We all kind of told her our stories and she really seemed genuinely touched. And there's that expression of don't meet your heroes because you'll always be disappointed. Meeting Jane Pratt was like, if anything, I just adore her more for having met her. And it's unusual. So, and I'm so grateful for it. So I'm hoping it is the start of a lifelong Substack friendship. I'm working on an essay for her publication. So cross your fingers that goes as I'm hoping it does. And that will be live at some point in the future. And I will tell you all about it when it is. I love that you read your essays out loud. Thank you, Stacy. You listened today. I love that. That makes me happy. I am no expert. They are unedited. That's going to be the next level when I learn how to use some editing software and maybe blip out when my dog barks. But right now, you just get the pleasure of hearing the full unedited experience. ARF, I guess that's for Kira. Thank you, Bob. I paid for the Daily Whatever show first. Someday, though. Oh, Jay, that's amazing. The Daily Whatever show. I think a lot of you know this. That's my podcast that I co-host with Lawrence, my best friend since the 4th grade. So appreciate your support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Stacy from California says, last week was my first Sunday salon and I really enjoyed it. Thanks so much. Fabulous. I hope you are back this week. And then Deb says, I bought the memoirs quarterly because of you. Really? Oh, that makes me so happy. If you guys aren't following the memoirist, Kiki Walters publication, she publishes just some fantastic memoir writing, and she publishes a quarterly hardcover journal. And I've been in both editions so far. So I'm so honored, Deb. Thank you for purchasing it. There's so many good writers in there. Bob says Zoom has that feature. I know, Substack. Get on it. Capture the chat. Let's see here. Okay. Otherwise, it's just folks joining. Welcome, everyone. I will repost the essay we're talking about because, a lot of folks just joined. So I think those of you who have been with me at I Write Out Loud from the very beginning, early February, it's only been three months. Yeah, it's been a little over 3 months. You know that I post a new essay each week, and that sometimes they are brand new essays, and sometimes they are essays from my archive, because I Write Out Loud is my home for creative nonfiction, and I have essays all over the internet that will all eventually make their way into I Write Out Loud. The last 2 weeks, they were net new essays. This week, I intentionally I'm intentionally sharing this essay that's a little over a year old. And I'm sharing it because May 1st was National, I don't remember the exact day, but it's the day that all of the high school seniors declare where they're going to school. It's the deadline for them to say, yes, I'm coming. That is not stopping the zillions of schools my daughter applied to, who send all the paper mail and the emails, from being like, hey, are you coming? Are you coming? I keep telling her she needs to go into the Common App and just turn them down already, but she hasn't yet. But it was a really big day. If you're following, if you have students at home who are around this age, you'll see all the Instagram accounts for the high schools are blowing up with their class of 2026 decisions. But this essay starts at the beginning of the search, or near the beginning at least. And it is exploring an idea of, is college the right time to perhaps exit the US? I am no longer married to the father of my kids, but we are a family and we have a very good relationship. Our marriage ended a long time ago when they were quite small. So we co-parent really well together. And sometimes we even travel together, which is what this essay is about. The four of us went to Ireland together, in part to take a trip last spring break. But a big part of that trip was exploring a few unis in Ireland, because he and our daughters are all dual citizens, US and EU, through Ireland. And they don't know Ireland, or they didn't know it at all before this trip. But with what it was, just a couple months since the inauguration, we already were seeing signs of what was to come and what continues to come. And we are very like-minded politically. And we were like, maybe it would be great if our children go to college in the EU. And so that is what this essay is about. It's about us going over there and exploring, but it's also exploring this bigger question of, could our family do this for us? And then also this bigger cultural narrative of how scary it is to be releasing one's child into a world that feels so fraught. And more importantly, it digs into this idea of home. And I did not grow up where I live now, which is Seattle. My children were born in Seattle. The home I live in, I have been here for longer than they've been alive. So they have only known this home, and then their dad's been in the same place since we split. So when did he move in there? 2012? It's been a long time. The years are starting to blur when they're that far back. So they have had a very grounded home here in Seattle. I always think of it as like we've been in two homes, but we've had them very embraced and very rooted. And so this essay explores this theme of is now the time to uproot them, and would we all try to go? And when I moved out to Seattle when I was 26. So I was already done with college and grad school and had started working. And I had lived in a few cities, but I hadn't found a place that really felt like home yet. And I came out to visit Lawrence, my co-conspirator at the Daily Whatever show, and another high school friend of ours. They were both living in Seattle at the time. And I just fell in love with the city. And my two best friends are out here. And I made a tremendous leap at 26 and moved out here. It now would seem terrifying, but at 26, it was like, I mean, I didn't know I'd be moving here forever. It was just like, I want to go live in Seattle and I want to be near Denise and Lawrence. And off I went and I never left. I love it here. And I've seen it change dramatically. But this is a city that has known me from my 20s through my 50s. And I have friendships that I've had for most or all of that time out here. Even though Denise and Lawrence no longer live here, I launched a music website here. So I'm deeply entrenched in the music scene. I've worked in tech for most of my career. So I've got contacts through that. I've put my kids through school here. So I've got my parenting friends. Like I am deeply rooted. I've been in this home for 20 years, right? And so there is this, I think when one is younger, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this in the chat of like, have you ever uprooted and what was it like and how old were you? Because my theory is that in one's young adulthood, it's reasonably easy to up and move if, you don't have, at least I did not have kids at that point. I wasn't married. I was just able to up and move. The idea of doing that now is an immense heartache. And what this essay grapples with is the idea of like, could any other place ever feel like home? And I have traveled, there have been a few cities I've been to that I've been like, oh, I would love to live here. And a few were in Europe. The European ones, many years ago, I went to Barcelona and I was like, I want to move here. I lived in Barcelona for like 2 months and I loved it there. It's like astonishingly beautiful and cool there. I haven't been back and I really want to go back. But I also felt that way when we were in Utrecht in the Netherlands, that I was like, I would move here tomorrow if I had a way to get here. I loved that little town. It's just outside Amsterdam. And I felt that way in Dublin, where I was like, I wish this were my heritage. It's not my heritage, but Dublin just feels really cozy. And it's a really big city. And, it has tech companies and it has all the modern conveniences, but you can just tell that the Irish people are like musicians and madmen. Like it's got that like magical, mystical, weird feel to it that I love. So it felt like cool and like, wow, I would love to spend more time here and to maybe live here. But that's not the same thing as it feeling like home. And I'm just not sure if a place could ever feel like that for me again, because anywhere I move, I will be moving there as like kind of an old woman, right? Like I'm already 55. So anywhere I get, they will only see me as a much older version of myself, where Seattle has watched me grow up. And so much of my community here, when they see 55-year-old Dana, they see 30 years worth of Dana, right? Because they've known me and they know what I've accomplished. It feels like it would be very hard. But for my daughters, if they were to move there at 18 or even at 22 or 26, like could Dublin or another place in the EU grow to feel like home? And given the political circumstances right now, would it be a gift to move them or move with them if it made them more likely to go? Because they would have so many advantages. I mean, they would never have to worry about healthcare, right? They are citizens. The minute they set foot in the EU, they are entitled to so much. So that's what this essay is really grappling with. I'm going to come back here and look at the chat because I want to hear some of the answers that have come in. So let me see here. Harry says, I came home to Scotland. America is lost. I haven't been to Scotland yet, and I really want to go. There's so many great Scottish bands. Like, the music scene there must be amazing in Edinburgh. I would love to go. But one day, hopefully, I'll get over there. Lucky kids. Yeah, I don't think they really realize how lucky they are that they have this gift of 2 passports. Jennifer says, yes, as a woman who has done her BA in her home country, and then will be able to live somewhere else, the visas are so much easier too. Okay. I can't quite tell from that if you were living in your home country or if you went somewhere else and came back. You can clarify in there if you wish. Shayla says over and over again. I'm not sure what that's referring to. Maybe you've moved over and over again. Oh, but you've now not moved for almost 25 years. Yeah, I moved a ton when I was younger, and now I've stayed put in Seattle and in this house specifically for 20 years, 21 years in July. My house can drink, which would be weird thing to say. Jason says he's only had a couple of big moves. Jennifer says, and my sisters lived and studied abroad too. My husband and I will uproot again. Oh, Jason says, come visit us in Colorado. I'll make paella. That sounds delightful. And Harry says, Dublin is the most, I think that's updated city in Europe. Amazing. But the people didn't keep up. They didn't improve. That's because doing so would be impossible. Or because they say doing this would be impossible. That's what you mean there. I would love to know more about that. Lynette, good evening to you in Northeast Pennsylvania. Mona says, I feel that way about Edinburgh, that you've been there and you love it or that you want to go. Either way, yes. Courtney says, I took my son to Ireland last year and he did want to stay. I thoroughly investigated moving there, would in a heartbeat. Yes. Your daughters should go now, but warning, they may never come back, speaking from experience. Yeah. My grandma immigrated as a teen from Blantyre. I don't know how to pronounce that word, or I'm not sure where that is. JMM says, I'm thinking of doing the same for my kids. Shayla says she'll go to Scotland with me. Crown trip would be fun. Visit me and my wife in the Isle of Mull. Oh my gosh. So the Isle of Mull, there was a performer years ago, back in the Three Imaginary Girls era, named the Mull Historical Society. It was just one guy, but that was his moniker. Is he from the Isle of Mull? Is he Scottish? Let me know, Harry, if he is. We interviewed him. He was a really nice guy. Mona says, will you regret never having lived anywhere other than Seattle as an adult? I don't know. Maybe. But I really love it here. Like I walk around and I still have that feeling you get like when you're a tourist, when you're like, oh man, I love it here. I want to spend some time here. I still feel like I'm still in love with Seattle. This is home. So I don't know if I will regret that. Count me into a move to Scotland. Harry, it sounds like we're all coming your way. You cannot improve the Dubliner, damn near perfect human beings. Okay. Good to know. Jamie Lee, Dana, I always get so excited to see you go live. You cheer up my day. Jamie Lee, that's so nice of you to say. Thank you. I'm so glad you're here. You have just made my day. So I feel that way exactly every day here. Jay, where are you? Oh, you're in Canada. I can see from your flag. My daughter also, so she has decided where she's going to school, and I am not disclosing it, just safety, privacy reasons. She did get into her top choice school, and they gave her a lot of scholarship money, and it's an amazing school for what she wants to do. And so I feel really good about her decision. But she did also get into University College Dublin. She never finished applying to Trinity, which I'm a little sad about. I didn't realize she didn't finish, and I think she was scared she wouldn't get in. She didn't finish applying. But I don't think those were the right schools for her. Those were like Trinity, especially the majors were very like business, philosophy, literature. Like they're very like when I went to school, and my kid's like an art design kid. So they were not really the right schools for her. She also did get into a Canadian school that would have been really good for her. And she was like, no, I want to go where she's going. So um, it's far away and it's in a red state. And those are hard things. Though it's in a liberal college town, it is in a red state. And I'm going to take some more deep breaths. Here we go. We're just going to, maybe her vote will count more. Maybe her vote will count more. Trinity is beautiful, Courtney. Trinity felt like being at freaking Hogwarts. I mean, that school's been there since the 1500s. It's the Harvard of Ireland. I loved that. Trinity College is so cool. Oh, Harry, the musician I named, it was the Mull Historical Society, I think. Hold on. Let me just look this up for a second. Indulge me. This is a band I have not thought of in like 20 years. Mull Historical Society. His name is Colin McIntyre. And here's his Wikipedia page. But yeah, Mull Historical Society, and he's Scottish. So I have to think he's from the Isle of Mull, right? Oh, yeah, you already found him. This is the stage name. He was born on Mull. Okay. He became fairly well known in UK indie circles in the early 2000s. His music often carries island atmosphere and melancholy. Yeah, I mean, my Seattle indie music website reviewed his work when he came to town. We met with him and interviewed him. He was super nice. I can't think of a single song right now because 20 years have gone by. I just remember that I really liked him. And hello, Ashley. It's nice to see you here. Where to pivot this conversation next? This is a tough one. I'm tempted to maybe read part of it. I am tempted to have you guys ask me questions if you have some. And I'm also tempted to talk about more college thoughts I have that are likely going to be another essay that I'm going to write tonight because I'm crazy. What would you guys like to do? Let me ask this. Do you all have questions for me about this essay, about Ireland, about raising tweens and teens and launching them into the world? Like, where should we shift this conversation? So my head is shooting off in like 20 different, I shouldn't joke and say ADHD. I don't know. I have never been diagnosed, and I have been told by people that they're like, oh, you totally are ADHD. The way you write, the way you talk. And I'm like, if I do, it's fine. All I know is that my brain is managing so many different inputs that sometimes it starts popping on all circuits, and I'm just like, I don't know where to go next. So let me see here. I'm going to come back to the comments. Oh, Ashley says you were amazing last night. Thank you. That Jane Pratt night was total wish fulfillment. I mean, it was so wonderful. So I am really hoping I'm going to have an essay in another Jane Pratt thing soon, too, as a next step with Jane. So I'm super excited about that. Harry says, Julie Fowlis again, not Mulborn, but very much part of the Gaelic music world surrounding is that Hebrides? Her voice is almost the sound of mist over water. Wow, it's like you're a writer, Harry. It's beautiful. Talk about your daughter's artwork. I like that. Harry says, Dana, what is with changing the side your hair hangs down? Drives me nuts. I'm sorry. I play with my hair because especially right now, I need to get it cut. And so it feels heavy, and I do play with it. I'll try not to. I will try not to. Because I've gotten feedback before that it makes people dizzy that I play with my hair. I will try not to. So let's see here. Wonderful. I can't quite read that one, Lynette. Oh, article. Wonderful. I'm looking for 3 Dana article. I'm not sure what that is, but you can clarify if you want. So, Ashley, you want me to talk about my daughter's artwork, and I love that. And then you've asked, are you going to intertwine the story how and when she began to draw her artwork? I wasn't, but I think that's really interesting. You all have probably noticed that I post a new essay every Monday, and then my notes during the week, a lot of the times wind around the theme of the essay. So I've been talking a lot about college and kind of my trepidations around sending her. And then I decided, like, why not share some of her art? And so if you go to it might be hard to find because I have been posting a lot about different lives, but let me see if I can find some of these links while we're talking. Excuse me. I have been posting some of my daughter's artwork, some of the portfolio work that got her into her art and design schools. And what I will say about my child and her art is both of my daughters are really talented artists. This is just the work of my oldest. Here, I'm going to copy this link. Here's one link. And if you go to my page and you scroll down, you'll also see these, but I'll just put them in here. It's a really strange thing because where did the chat go? There it is. I am not a visual artist, nor is their father, but I am a writer and he is a musician. And somehow the writer and the musician produced two visual artists. And I think that that's cool. My younger daughter is also pretty musically inclined, although she's not doing much with it. She's in choir at school and she loves it. And she'll say things like, um, can't you hear that this is a minor, not a major chord? And can't you hear what do is? I love this idea. I'm going to pause for a minute and talk about this. See, ADHD brain. She talks about how every song has a do, a home note. Like do, a deer, a female deer. But do is relative to the song. It's not like do is center C. It's not a C or a G or whatever. It's for that song. It's the note that other parts of the melody go out to and then they come home to. And so we'll listen to a song and I'll be like, sorry, Harry, I just messed with my hair again. I'll be like, so what's the do in the song? And she'll listen for a bit. And she's like, okay, I think it's when she says this, that note is do. And I feel like there's a metaphor and a story in there of like every song has a do, has a home. Like, does every life have a do? Does every story, every essay have a do, something it keeps coming back to? Like the song will go up and it will go down and it will wander and there will be a bridge and a refrain, but it keeps coming back to do. Isn't that beautiful? I don't know. I just find it beautiful. Linnea says the do depends on the key the song is in. I can't hear it like she can, though. I am really good with lyrics and melody and like love to sing. I know the words and the melody to like, I don't know, 10,000 songs, so many songs. If only I had a good voice, I would be unstoppable. But I don't have a great singing voice, sadly. But both of my kids are visual artists. And this was part of my older daughter's college essay. With where it started as a memory I told her about that when she was 18 months old, we had a part-time nanny who would watch her while we went to work. And I came home one day early in the tenure working with this new nanny, and she was like, Dana, look at this. She holds up a piece of paper and it's a circle that my child has drawn. And you know me, I'm like grabbing dinner and multitasking. And I'm like, yeah, it's a circle. She was drawing those all the time. And Katie, our nanny, was like, no, it's a perfect circle. And she's 18 months old. And I was like, is that a big deal? She's like, yes. Like, that's very advanced and unusual for that age. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I started kind of connecting the dots as she grew a little bit older that like both of my kids were just born with the crayons and the markers in their hands. One was like this and the other was like this because my younger child is left-handed and she still holds a pen or a pencil like this. And she makes amazing art gripping her paintbrushes and her pens improperly. But um, and it brings up kind of a bigger question of like nature versus nurture, and how much do you do to help nurture what nature gave them. And so my kids have always been in art, or not always, but have long been in art lessons. They've gone to art camps, entered art competitions. Ashley says, I read about that in one of your articles on Medium. Oh, yeah, that actually, it is in an essay. It's here too on I Write Out Loud. One of the other college essays that launched I Write Out Loud a few months ago, where I write about how she could draw a perfect circle at a young age. You're right. I did put that in an essay. So I grew up, like, I have a great mom and I grew up in a happy home. I didn't really grow up in a family that values like creative output so much as academic output. And I think if I'd shown like a crazy proclivity for something, maybe it would have been supported. But like it was pretty clear at a really young age that I wanted to perform and I wanted to sing. But I don't have a great voice. And like, they let me do drama and stuff if I wanted to, but it was never really nurtured because no one in my family is an artist or a writer or a musician. I kind of don't know where I come from. I'm a bit of an oddball. So with my kids, it was really important to me that when I saw um, a proclivity and inclination to do something, that I'm like, let's do this, right? Let's nurture this talent. And so um, that's what we've always done. And um, they're very my daughters are like complementary but different. Where and the art is a perfect example of like my older daughter. Her technical skills are like off the charts. My younger daughter is a painter and her imagination is lovely and her use of color is really cool, but she doesn't have the fine line detail work that you see in my older daughter's work. They're both very talented in their own ways. And actually, this does become really relevant to this conversation and kind of is leading into the next essay I'm going to write. Hopefully, if I'm going to write it, it's going to happen tonight. So, like, well, wish me luck. I am a slow writer, but I do have a draft because this one is not a lyrical essay. This is advice, actually. And I don't usually write quite this in this much of an expository way. But what I've come to realize is um, I am not a college guidance counselor. I'm not the person you're going to go to and just be like, how do I get my kid into school? But I do think I have some hard won lessons that would be valuable to share. I have 22 of them. I dictated them into my phone on the go and then compiled them and was like, oh, I have a big essay here. And I had asked a couple days ago in notes, like, if I write an essay about like hard won lessons I learned helping my child get into college, would you be interested in reading it? And I got enough yeses that I'm like, all right, I'm going to push through it and do some advice telling. But here was one of those things, the way that I'm connecting dots right now, the way that I always encouraged my kids' art, both by, being present with it, looking at it, admiring it, making sure they had the lessons. I also, because I'm a networker and a connector, I know a lot of people in Seattle. I helped them get a couple art shows, one that was pretty big a few years ago at a cafe near here. It was 2 months. They were the youngest artists in residence they ever had. For 2 months, they had the entirety of this huge cafe. It was beautiful. And they sold almost every piece. They made thousands of dollars. It was really cool. And we donated a lot of it, and some of it went in their college funds. And it was great. So the same work that I invested in nurturing those talents was the very similar skill set that I applied in helping my daughter with college. And this is one of the bits of advice that I will pass along here that's going to go in the essay is the college counselor at my daughter's school was very like, your kid needs to do this on their own. Don't butt in. let them figure this out. And I hear his point, and they are getting to be adults, and there's things they need to do on their own. And also, are you fucking insane? Like, I am not leaving this decision to my then 17-year-old when I have seen firsthand the like catastrophic consequences of people picking colleges that are way too expensive, not understanding how it all works, and ending up in crazy debt at graduation. It's simply, especially with my daughter who was looking at both art and design schools as well as traditional colleges, as well as international schools, I was like, there's no way that I'm checking out and letting her just do this herself. From where I sit, college is the final decision that you as a parent get to help them make. She's 18 now. From here on out, any decision that my child wants to make, I am here. I am here to support. If she asks for help, I will help her, but it's no longer my decision. But the enormity of like how college is like the framework that takes them from childhood and sets them up for what their future will be, that's, in my mind, way too big to just say, go do it, especially now, because there's so many factors. And I mean, that was the Gen X way of doing it. I don't remember anyone helping me with colleges. And I applied to UF as my safety school. I grew up in Florida. I did not want to go to the University of Florida. I wanted the fuck out of Florida so bad. I applied to my top choice school, which was Northwestern, because I wanted to be a journalist. And then I applied at random, and I was like, all right, I'm going to apply to NYU and Boston University. Nobody helped. I wrote some essays. I think I had really good SAT scores, pretty good grades. I got waitlisted at Northwestern and did not get in. But I got into NYU and I got into Boston University, and I was like, look, I got in. And my parents were like, yeah, we can't afford NYU or Boston University. You're going to UF, which is where I went. That would have been good to know before I did the applications. And since I really pretty desperately did not want to go to a state school, could someone have talked to me about what options were, how to apply for scholarships if those existed? I'm sure they probably did. I didn't know, and there was no internet. So I believe that, your kid, right? Some kids maybe are able to handle all of this on their own. My kid, she did a lot of it on her own, but the foundational work and the staying checked in was really important to have a parent there, and that was me. Like we went on a lot of tours together. Like this essay is the first of them when we were in Ireland, but we went to, how many schools did we go to? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We went to 5 different colleges, and explored them so she could have an idea of where it was, what it was like. So yeah, don't check out. But don't check out of their interests and don't check out of the college experience is kind of, as I'm talking about it, I'm like, oh, it was the same parenting instinct, right? Your mileage may vary. It has worked for us, I think. I don't know, maybe we should talk to my daughter years from now and see if she agrees. I'm going to go ahead and read what y'all have been saying and speak back. Let me see here. Oh, Ashley, she says, I read all of your articles. Thank you. You are very sweet. You're nurturing their artistic skills. You're a great mom. Thank you. I'm a thorough writer, not a slow writer. Yes, but I am not a fast writer. I wish I could be. I wish I could sit down and just be like, this is magnificent. But it's especially for like heavy memoir. It's a lot. Let's see here. Harry says, beware the advice, Dana. It's a cookie cutter subject and has to be finely tuned unless it is personal experience. Yes, mine is going to be a your mileage may vary thing, and it's not going to be like, you should do this. It's more these ideas of like, we were advised to let her do it by herself. I would not recommend it, and here are the ways I leaned in. And you know me, I'll weave a little memoir into there, but a bit of storytelling, but a lot of them are about money, but they're not about like, here's how you fill in your FAFSA, because that's not the kind of writer I am, nor do I want to talk about that. But here's the big thing for me. No one talked to me about money really. And of course, college was a lot cheaper then. And also, my parents have never thanked me for this. 6 years of college and grad school, 100% full tuition ride. You're welcome, parents. I was joking about that with my mom, and she was like, well, that was like kind of common back then. And I was like, no, it was not. But anyhow, there were still a lot of expenses because young adults living on their own, there's rent and utilities and all the things that are in a home, your shampoo and your dish soap and your vitamins, whatever, the stuff you need, it all costs money. And it was very unclear where the money was coming from and who was giving what. And my parents had a contentious divorce. And I don't want my kid to wonder. So being very transparent about money and what loans are like, 'cause they're quite predatory these days, some of them, and explaining what credit card debt and compounding interest are and how dangerous those can be when you're starting, your young professional life. These are really important conversations to have. So that's more the advice that I'm giving. Nothing like only spend X% of your income. Like I don't know what the fuck those equations are. You just have to gauge your own risk. But um, I feel like I have some hard won life experiences to share. Now I'm going to come into here. Let's see here. Lynette says it is a huge investment, so it needs to have lots of strategy. 100%. And an adult, right? Someone who can think through it from kind of a higher, bigger picture perspective, because there's some advantages to aging. We have lived experience, right? That an 18-year-old simply does not have. Jay says Substack is killing me today. Oh no, does the chat keep crashing on you? Because I've had that happen to me today too. Ashley says, see, that's what a great mom does. You are really too kind to me today. Oh, I'm scrolling down and there's lots more comments here. Let's see. Our children don't and never do belong to us. We are simply charged with raising them to be kind and accountable human beings. That's the job. Yeah, very well stated. My babies feel like they're mine. So they're my children, but they're their own independent people, and there's never been any doubt about that. That's for sure. But it is when you're like, my heart is going to be moving very far away, and I wrote about this a little in one of my earlier essays of like, I'm really curious to see how my youngest is going to take it. I'm a little worried because she just loves her big sister so much. And also it's kind of dawning on me of like, I had, over 2 years with just my oldest before I had a second baby. And now I'm going to have time with just my youngest at the back end. I mean, that's obvious. That's how math works. But I'm starting to kind of look forward to having some dedicated time with her. Of course, right around the time she gets her driver's license. So, like, I might be like, I'm here, sweetie, let's hang out. And she's going to be like, peace out, mom, I need the keys. And off she'll go. But I hope I get to have some like dedicated time with her that's really meaningful. And I don't know. I'm kind of excited. I'm trying to lean into my excitement around that to not think of how sad I'm going to be that my child who's lived with me for 18 years, this will no longer be her primary home. And that's a very strange feeling. Yeah. Let me see here. Jamie says, oh, I got into NYU, but my dad lost all my college money gambling. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. But you wanted journalism too. I have a lot of thoughts about that, Jamie, of like how different my life would have been if I had gone to Northwestern or NYU or even BU. They had a journalism program at the University of Florida, and I opted out of it and I picked a really safe major. I was a speech therapist as my first career, undergrad and grad school, because it requires that to practice. And it was very much like I didn't believe in the courage of my own creativity or my own power or my own stories to tell. And I do think some of it stems back to that not going to schools that specialize in that, not having gotten in. It was just kind of a rejection of me that I was like, I can't compete. And so here I am on Substack 30 years later, being like, I'm finally doing the work I was always supposed to do. All this technology didn't exist back then. But, um, you know, I can't be mad. I don't want to unravel the tapestry of who I've become, but it is interesting to contemplate. Let's see here. Ashley went to West Germany University for fashion design. Wow, that sounds exciting. That sounds really cool. Excuse me. They should come in pairs. No. Okay. I think I'm good. Um, let's see here. Practical advice. Thank you. Chris Resist says, I wish that someone would have told me that paying $75 on like a credit card balance of 800, it will never be paid off. And that is by malicious design. Yes, minimum payments are a bitch. I have put the fear of going into debt into my oldest child so hard, and she loves to shop. So I've really instilled in her, do not go into debt. So much so that when we are requiring her to pay a small amount for her school, that's also going to be in my essay. I think you should. Um, like she got a ton of scholarships. So we could say that that's her part, but I'm like, nope, that's the part that makes it feasible. And I made a whole spreadsheet for her that was like, here's everything. Here's what your 529 has. This is the money your grandfather left for you. This is the money that is left over. This is the delta that we need to cover. This is how much you're covering, and this is how much Dad and I are going to cover the balance. And it was an amount that she could have easily gotten in a loan, and it was very small. And she was still like, no, 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 no. I'll earn the money this summer. I don't want to go into debt. And like, that is your choice. You can pick which way you want to do it. But if you'd like to hold on to more cash so you have more fun money when you're there, could take out a loan. So she will make that decision. Linnea says, I learned the whole credit thing early. I had an internship at FICO when I was in college, and seeing how the scores are made and how much they influence lives is a hard lesson. Oof, right? I like to say that my first career gave me a lot of perspective because I worked with so many people at the end of their lives. But that's a very practical lesson. That's amazing. When it says, Chris, my husband told me that you don't pay the minimum. I paid where they put on the bill LOL of the credit card. Not quite following that comment, Lynette, but you can clarify if you want below. Let's see here. Yeah, I swiped because I wanted to eat and buy game cards. Yeah. I just never had a proper credit lesson when I was young. None of us did. None of us did, Chris. And I think Gen X was the first generation when you got to college that you just got the flood of credit cards coming at you. Like, hey, you don't have a job yet, but you're in college. You'll be good for it one day. I had so many credit cards and so many more flying at me. It makes me really angry now. So, my artist is not that great at math. So I'm very much trying to teach her, like, do not go down that path. You don't, if like we have the spreadsheet. This should cover your expenses. Don't go crazy when you're in college, because if you do and you have to pay for all of this, just you're going to be in trouble. It's hard to pay back. Let's see here. You can get an additional grant since she is advancing her art. If you know how to do that, Ashley, let me know. Let me see here. Thank you, Gen X. Yeah, also no one really told us about the loss of pensions and how 401ks worked. They just showed up at work and we were supposed to, like, through osmosis, figure out, I guess, that we were supposed to put money in that, which, you know, we could pop off on that for days. You all talked about that on the Daily Whatever show. They were peddling them like free t-shirts with free t-shirts. Yeah, the credit cards were they were insane. They were insane. Yes, we were the first ones to get an option for a credit card. My mom remembers having to build her credit with a gas card. Yeah, well, we were also the first women who got access to credit cards. So I guess there's that. And other free college bling, free hacky sack. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oof. Memories. But yeah, I think tonight I'm going to be doing laundry. It's overdue. And I'm going to be working on this essay. And I hope I can churn it out. So I don't usually post a second essay midweek, but this isn't. It is part of I Write Out Loud because I'm writing it, but it's not the weekly essay. It's more like an addendum, and it's an advice piece, which is a very different flavor. So, oh, Ashley says, I was a grant writer. I will send you some links for that. I'll write the proposal. Oh my God, you're hired, Ashley. You're hired. Can you get me a grant for being, I don't know, a feisty older woman with cat eye glasses who's being mouthy on the internet and writing out loud and elevating liberal voices through her podcast? Because a grant would be fabulous. I don't know anything about that world, but it is one of those back of the mind things that I'm like, I wonder if we would, like Lawrence and I, I'm like, a woman and a queer guy, we should maybe qualify for a grant for what we're doing, but I don't know. It would be pretty wonderful. Okay, no problem. Ashley, have your people contact my people. I'm a journalist. I know. I was editor of my high school newspaper. Now look at me. Speaking of which, speaking of journalists, Kate Justice was on the Daily Whatever show today with me for a Fine Feminist Hour, and she was awesome. I was backlogged 3 with those 3 in a row in 24 hours, but they are all live now if you want to go back and watch. The work she's doing, researching the Epstein files and kind of connecting dots and doing just deep investigative journalism. It was inspiring. I have to admit, I read her story and then I listened to it as I was getting ready this morning, and I was like, oh my God, this is so much like I was having a hard time following all the threads in it. It's pretty complex, but what a tangled web they have woven. It's not just about sexually assaulting girls. It's also about like a complete financial takeover. Is wild. Wild. Let's see. There are tons of grants that are available. Okay. I love that. My contact will reach out to you. Fabulous, Ashley. Thank you. Okay. We are at the top of the hour. We're actually just over it. Do you all have any final questions for me? I'm going to cut and paste. Oh, wait, that's not the essay. That's one of the notes I shared. But I'm going to just leave you with my essay. If you have not yet read it, I would welcome your eyes on it. I would welcome your feedback. I would especially welcome if you would restack it so that others will find it, and others will find me as the writer, because I am but a small and fledgling memoirist here in my little corner of Substack. And it is hard to catch air here if one is not a celebrity already when they arrive. So I would super appreciate if you would do that. I am so grateful for you all spending your Wednesday evening here with me. It is the best. Sorry, not Wednesday, it's Thursday evening because of the Jane Pratt thing last night. I moved to a different night. Thursday evening. Tomorrow's Friday. That means it's Fucked Up Friday. We've got Jason Odell and Shayla B. Pookie, the Rebel Crone, who are both in the chat, coming in for Fucked Up Friday tomorrow. I still have to find my story, but I know this is going to be a fierce competition to find the most fucked up news story of the week. And I am very excited to compete with both of you and to just learn about the work that you're doing here on Substack, because you've got so many projects going on, and I cannot wait to join in. So, or not to join in, but to join the fun over there. What else? Sunday Salon. If you all would like to join me on Sunday for another deep dive into this conversation, that is a paid subscriber benefit. It happens at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific time. I would love to have you join me there. I would welcome your patronage if you are in a place in your life where you can support up-and-coming memoirists and journalists here on Substack. It is $4 a month, $40 a year to support I Write Out Loud. And that's my whole pitch there to close out the show. Actually, I want to close it with just another word of thanks. It means so much to me to have you all come here. I look forward to these lives so much. And I have been thinking of some new ideas to grow I Write Out Loud even more. And I think it's going to involve bringing some members of the community on mic and kind of using the podcasting skills learned with I Write with the Daily Whatever show and having some writers on writing joining eventually. But I'm still noodling the idea up here. So stay tuned in the coming weeks because I've been thinking about it enough that I am likely going to um, launch it. Oh, thanks, Chris. Got Jet. Love you, mean it. Love you, mean it back. Thank you. I'm glad you think that that is a good idea. And oh, and it is Mother's Day this weekend. Yes, I'm going to go live on Mother's Day. I don't know how many people will be there. I guess I could ask if no one's going to be there. I'll go live. If no one's there, I'll stay for a few minutes and then we'll leave. But I'm hoping there'll be a few. We shall see. I will be undoubtedly seeing my kids. I'm not sure what we're doing yet. My only rule is I'm not responsible for dinner Sunday night. Like, I don't care if I get taken out or cooked for or takeout comes to my house. I am off cooking duty on Mother's Day. That's my rule. And my family does a very good job indulging it. So thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Doot, 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 doot. Love you all. I know we're almost at 100 today. We're at 94. It's a good number. Post your strut your stuff for your artistic skills, please. I'm not sure what that is. I don't have artistic skills. My kids, they have the artistic skills. Have a lovely evening. I'm going to go rally myself so that I can, and like shift head space so that I can go write because I want to get this essay done. Hopefully it will be going live tomorrow. If it does, you will see it. You'll see it on Substack. Love you, mean it, guys. Bye.